Hello, welcome to back, hopefully, the Great Ace Attorney, Chronicles. We are in the third case, and for the first time, I finally stopped halfway through. I think halfway. It's possible there's going to be more than half, but if I remember correctly, Magnus McGilded opened up about the fact that there was another person on the omnibus at the time of the murder. They are apparently very young, and it was someone he didn't believe would be the killer. So he helped them out by pretending that they weren't there. But I suppose it's a bit weird that he's opening up about it now. Still, that's his reasoning. And that person was clearly in the courtroom, or at least someone who knew them and wanted to protect them, because a smoke bomb went off in the middle of court and everything was put to a halt. Anyway, that is what I remember. Let's see what happens next. I can't wait. Yeah. Alright. Let's get back into the characters. Word to the wise, my streaming schedule has changed from before. I used to do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I've realised the playing two separate games on 3 days a week causes one of those games to feel like it's taking forever to get to. So I've changed it to 4 streams a week, being a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday, leaving Monday, Thursday, and Sunday 3. So that's how it's going to be for now. Let's move on. What on earth happened in there?
Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened.
Miss Susato?
I know. I was told in advance. It was an advanced form of a smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke.
A smoke grenade? It sounds like it sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use.
They're just making sure that everything's safe now. I think the trial will start again before long.
Ah, so I thought that the trial would have ended for the day and we would have gotten like an investigation period. Because have we technically gotten that before? Not yet. Yeah, like we've just been like, I suppose that the investigation came in the second case and there was no trial. Are we gonna just have full trial this one? I doubt it, since it's the third case. I feel like it has to go over 2 days, at least. But who would have done something like that?
The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently.
Flee the courtroom? Why?
Well, it's a young girl around 15, I hear.
A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was talking about?
I thought exactly.
So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I would need to ask him about, but he's not here.
I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl.
Who is she, I wonder? And why is she doing here at trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself?
There's another matter that's troubling me.
What's that?
It's the 20 pence.
Huh? Oh, so that means that either Beppo's lying again, or she got on without anyone's knowledge.
According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems that there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't add up again.
Ugh, she's right. This is strange. Counsel for defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes, as I say.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the entire direction of this trial. Well, we'll know soon enough, Miss Susato. Yes!
Okay, I'm gonna actually have a re-look over the evidence just to remind myself. The Old Bailey courtroom.
Oh, there she is. There's the youngest girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Well, the rather eventful reset after a river. Jesus, okay, I need to just stop, read the words, and then speak the voice. Well, after a rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Seeks. My lord. I believe that you have established the cause of the smoke, which veiled proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious! The army? What in devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by the young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now she occupies the stand.
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
If I may... Yep, my lord. I need to get back into the Magnus voice. He's very Irish. If I may, my lord. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, Mr. McGilded?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman was involved in the case.
Just what happened that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs the information or anything. I should probably said that a little more sarcastically. I was trying to at the end, but young girl. On the night of question, I took a back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, by Goya! A loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fellow collapsed on the floor and from my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned out to... Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all bundled, curled up on a ball, hiding away self away. If I failed this, how would they possibly go, oh yeah, he's guilty now? I believe it.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess. But from what I gather, on the night in question, the young girl was indeed riding the omnibus, is that correct?
'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. This last was the 5th passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defense would now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Wine. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. And when you first got to the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as you were. I see.
Aye. And that's why I took the back seat. I did. Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. Tis exactly how I described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one that the poor gentleman was stabbed in. Was sitting. Like I said, tis the most comfortable, where I feel the most at ease. And of course, I love gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
Wine.
Then by God, a flouch foot. We scream, woke me up with a fair start. Let's see. A loud thud, you say? And a scream? Aye, it's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground, like some sort of noise. So you think the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor had... You think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor after being stabbed? Well, now, you remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the cabbage. Ugh, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the cabbage. Yeah, the cabbage. The carriage. But the fella on the floor. So you didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream.
Ah, from the seat above you on the roof deck, I presume?
Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. You sat him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said, I could plainly see the poor devil that was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor, well, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find it a little hard to believe. Ara! Ara! Lord Van Zykes. Now, how would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in the carriage. A normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member in London society, that is. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
As business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest?
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them. And some would even see me dead. So I try, wherever at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with the trouble. Are you suggesting that you're going to leave the man there?
Heavens alive, no! I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out why and where Thor's thirst.
Why and wherefore? Right, you are. There was some details I wanted to understand before I got to the meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes. The scream he says did
the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Then I turned to find out the scream came from. Bless my soul, what did I find? Hold on, let me just reread this evidence. The armband is just a lawyer badge, basically. Autopsy report. Hemorrhaging from a single stab wound. From the trauma. I'm noticing that the person on the stand has actually got this same hair, I think. The lady. The leather gloves the defendant was wearing at the scene of the incident, there was a bloodstain on the right glove. So, if I'm making a guess right now, I think that the girl was posing as a dead body while Mr. McGilded woke up. They screamed and then fell to the floor on themselves. And the knife wasn't there, I'm guessing. And the body was taken out of the bottom thing while Mr. McGilded was being questioned, maybe? I don't know. I feel like it's something like that. There were passengers on both inside and outside of the deck. Large knife was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Fantasy quality of argumentation suggests that it must be very valuable. And the Bruce fair play on the debtor's ledger. Alright. What did you find? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except you and yourself and the victim. So I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, no, it's a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious. Under your backside? When I lifted the seat of which I was sitting, there I found a wee cubbyhole there for storage. So Naruhodo, if we examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole omnibus was submitted as evidence. It would be a very good time to have a thorough look into the inside. And that's what I found it. I mean, I already saw that. But I guess if it's asking me to do it again. Well, let's open the door and go inside. Yep. I've already seen... Wait, there is blood on the floor? Hold on. That wasn't there before. That's blood, isn't it? I very distinctly remember there not being blood on the floor. Something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Seeks make no mention of it. Suppose it does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Okay, yeah, I'm instantly saying that bloodstain's fake and the crime scene was messed with. The seat looks so reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only wide enough for two gentlemen to sit in side by side, really. Of course, English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be rather impossible for her to climb up on the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? And, hey! Okay, they have changed things. This is a storage compartment, but there was nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Yep. I bet this is going to be a remember Naruhodo, remember the omnibus before the trial reconvened. Yep, I got it. I don't even need to go out, I can just exit out of this, but... Yep, so the omnibus has been tampered with. That's when I found her. There was a child in there all curled up in a ball and hiding a wee self away.
You say that she was hiding herself. Aye, that's right. 'Twas hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met out well. Me heart nearly stopped beating in my chest.
Ugh, you're overreacting.
Still, all in all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite me so we could have a wee chin wag with her.
The seat opposite?
That's right. Just next to the dead gentleman there.
You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir?
Well, I'm sure I mentioned. A gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I need to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fellow's voice this time.
Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck.
Right you are, I would say, sir. Looking down for the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with a knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was actually in fact the girl and the late Mr. Mason?
Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight.
So Mr. McGilded's lying. He has to be, because there was no space for her at that point. There was no blood on the floor. All of this is a lie.
The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl.
After that, of course, the screams from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses.
Thank you. I've heard enough. The events are explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade. Gina Lestrade? 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 Lestrade. Gina Lestrade. Lestrade. Gina Lestrade. Lestrade. Oh god, that's gonna be awkward. My lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among the lads' clouds, relieving people of their purses. It's commonly called a pickpocket.
What? This girl here is a petty thief? Order! Order! Is this true, Mr. Lestrade? Lestrade? Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Ah! Jesus, how dare you? What is the meaning of this?
She's making a run for it again?
That girl, she's gone!
Open your eyes. I'm over here.
Good gracious, how?
What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Scrumming up are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught in on a job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what that's what's in your heads, innit? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast. Ah! Oh, Jesus. Look, knives are for cowards. The thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these thingers. I'm a professional, right? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got a lot pride in what I do.
Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among the weapons for thugs?
Oh, this? Yeah, it was in the bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, innit? I like the pink best.
Ah! Do not wave that thing in my direction again!
Jesus Christ, so she... I love that she's got a real, like... let's say... working class... English, British accent. So... you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question?
It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. Just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened on the omnibus in the night in question.
Alright. If I have to. If I have to.
What the girl saw.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they looked up. Before they hooked up the horses. Just like they always.
She's got pretty much my accent, really. Silent H's. It's just so very common. In, let's say, like, in Yorkshire.
But it was right. But it was right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my crimes that night. I tell you, I can't see a blind thing in the hiding place. It's pitch dark in there. And after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin. I did. And the scream just came out. I think she's maybe like partly Scottish. I can't tell. It's because of that. This swell found me. He did help me get away, mind.
Yes, he let you go.
I fail to understand why he would let a street urchin let go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simply itself, my lord. 'Tis simply itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact.
How?
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think the demonstration is called for. This is where I was sat at that night. And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath the seat, I presume.
Yes, it does appear to be large enough to accommodate someone of that girl's stature.
Aye, but of course the wee lass was snuck in here. In there. Because I parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Ah!
So you see, that's why there was I let the last bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume that she'd done it. But I couldn't live with it myself if a young life was ruined when all that time I knew that she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your actions would have resulted in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of a less fortunate lass.
My goodness! What a perfect gentleman!
My lord, This fine example of a man cannot be guilty of a most heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for even doubting you, sir.
With calm, calculated reasoning. Oh, wait. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
It's not over. They were going for the not. I think I see. McGilded wanted the not guilty via jury, so he just wanted to play up his good act in order to get it.
All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning for a verdict of not guilty?
Mr. Naruhodo, this must mean...
It must mean what?
We're victorious.
We've won? Are you sure? Are you? Could you just chill out? There's only so much of this like over the top dramatic bullshit I can take. This is going far beyond the line now. Throwing wine glasses around, like flaunting your finger in 2 separate ways. Like there's so much I can handle. This is so fucking bizarre. If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. I'm making him so snobby in this situation. This really is a consumable example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence should be and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day.
Emotion?
The witness's latest statement gives us clear insight into the true nature.
What do you mean, this true nature?
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by the officers of the court, of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. So yeah, he knows, and he's not going to let this slide. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. In the note in the back, it's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good lord!
The evidence has been tampered with. In order to collaborate in Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything under that seat.
What?
Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been affected, counsel?
Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend?
Me?
When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of law. So he's gonna ask me and say, like, be honest with me, bro. Pray, did you find the condition of... What did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. Tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate ruse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks.
No, I'm not allowing this.
Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter?
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus?
It wasn't empty. I'm gonna say, but that is the truth. It wasn't empty. I could take the, like, in between and say I didn't look. But that just makes me look like an idiot. Like, why wouldn't you look? But it wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving that answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel?
Be whist. What are you saying now, you daft dog? You daft dog. I thought you were on my side here.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting that. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Nice, make a little name for ourselves. As an advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess that I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state the facts I do know clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting.
This is not all together pleasing, fella.
I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded.
Well, don't forget you're supposed to be representing me best interests here, lad. Now then.
The fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. There was a cubby hole under the seat, and it is empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest to now admit that you might have been mistaken?
Why do I feel like something's not right here?
I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think.
The compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The rules, as guild rules, state that the omnibus should be properly and fully equipped at the times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night of the question. Beppo isn't unreasonable. That money-lending venture is a pickpocket purse. That money-lending venture and the pick purse are lying. Yeah.
I can't believe it. I was nearly taken in.
That stinking rich and the stinkers.
Nothing but cowards, a lot of them.
What? Oh no.
It's a trick. Of course it's a trick.
Alright, we're back in. Probably gonna go for free.
Quite so. I must concur here. With a calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Yes, but every time is a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly the verdict is not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, counsel. Before we proceed any further, there is a matter of outstanding cross-examination. The counsel for defense, begin your questioning the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of this trial has shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. No wine anymore. What the girls saw.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses. Just like they always. The horses.
So you were already on the omnibus before it even was off on its run?
Yeah. What's the point of spending money on a Joey to make a Bobby? That's sort of a rum idea, innit?
I suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense.
May I remind the girl he's a petty thief? Counsel, may I remind you this girl is a petty thief? Can't he refrain from entertaining her tenants?
Well, that does clear up a little mystery of the fairness and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabmen testified. And the one little scapegrace riding for free. The red clunk of the drivers always goes for good before the last run, you see. So that's when I slipped into the carriage to make myself hidden under the seat. Eat nice and easy, right?
But your hiding place is a storage compartment. It's full of equipment for the coach, no.
Yeah, there's bushels and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and crammed it into a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother that much.
And yet, according to the report filed the police report, the police officer who arrived at the scene, the compartment was filled with paraphernalia. This word. Paraphernalia. Paraphernalia.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved it all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I tell you.
It would seem we've reached the end of the line of inquiry. Continue.
Just gonna reset the character. There we go.
But it was right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night.
Oops.
A waste of time? Why would that? Why was that? Well, most nights I'm on my own in a good God permit. At least some of the old time.
I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit?
Oh yeah, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. That's when you come out of your hiding spot and get away. That's it. Only that night. The cover sat on me seat from the start and didn't budge the whole way. Didn't he not? He didn't budge the whole way, didn't he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while the events unfolded in the cabin?
Yeah. Right, mister.
To be sure.
God damn it. Going between Irish and working class English or Yorkshire is kind of hard.
To be sure, to be sure. I was just shocked as anyone. Don't expect to lift the cushion that you've sat on and find a child now, do you?
So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then.
I tell ya, couldn't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch black there.
You are totally related to the Mesa. I can just... Your hair is way too close. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all?
Not a jot. Most days I'd push up the cushion with me head just to look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at what I was gonna fiddle.
I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher.
I mean, I had a look. I can have a look. The seat and I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see? Most of the time, the passengers plant themselves the opposite. For some reason that night, this Irishman spent the whole journey right on over me head.
And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion seat out, I see.
Truth is, I ain't too happy in small, dark places. Feels like being thrown in the clink. But there's only...
Hold on, let's see. I want to just see the picture. She is a cutie, but she's, again, underage. Like the second case. She better not be her again. It does feel like she might have, like, reused the model a little bit. at least used it as a base, because Jesus, that is very close.
But it's the only place to hide in the carriages, so it's Obson's choice. Why did you just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason why she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was scared, but I had to stick my head out under there. Nothing else. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang and nearly jump out my skin. I did. And the scream just came out. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember this so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily? That's right. Then I felt the cushion over my head get all lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not? I would equivalently have been... It could have been equivalently the moment that the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not?
Well, girl!
Ugh. That was just weird.
Well, girl, did you see what happened at the crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion, I had a quick butcher's... What? I had a quick butcher's and I had a chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up, the bloke had fallen on the floor, seat opposite. It matches Mr. Gilded's account, of course. But then the fella suddenly turns around and looks at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I never should have risked. I should have risked looking. It's because of that swell found me. He did help me in get away, mind.
And when Mr. McGilda discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding space?
Oh, scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down in the seat and all.
Next to the victim, Mr. Mason?
Yeah. The bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both me hands were covered in blood. It made me feel like sick as a dog.
Both her hands were covered in blood? That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After a while, I believe you would talk to Mr. McGilded for a while, is that correct?
He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to and all that. Then I heard something up above. Someone screamed.
Yes, Mr. Frost on the roof deck, one would presume.
Well, I didn't want no one to see my face, so I didn't look up. When the horses were drawn up, smartish and... when the horses were drawn up, smartish, and this here gentleman Irishman says to me, "Get back under your seat and I'll see that you get away later." All 6 members of the jury decided that the defendant was innocent.
For one brief shining moment, yes.
It's clear that they're all very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence along with his new testimony, I'm sure it would clinch the verdict we want.
Yes, I think you're right, and I have the nagging feeling. Something's bothering me, but I can't just quite put my finger on it. Alright, something is up and I haven't spotted it yet. I snuck inside the carriage before they looked up the horses. But it was right old waste of time. Got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I tell you, I can't see a blind thing in that hiding space. It's pitch in there. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang and nearly jump out my skin. I did, and a scream just came out. Can't see a blind a thing in that hiding space. It's pitched in there. Nearly jumped out my skin. Did scream just came out. Because of that, the swell found me. He helped me get away. What is it then? I don't know what this actually is. Couldn't see anything in that hiding space. It's pitched in there. Is that something? Wait, didn't she say corroborating evidence? Conclusive piece of evidence. Do I need to do this again? Just to get something new? Oh, Jesus. I tried to press right button to... I'm actually a bit... I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Like I need to find a piece of evidence first. Right, I've already gone through that. Blood, isn't it? What's wrong? Oh, it's just well the bloodstains are obvious. They didn't mention it. Is it that I need to present the bloodstain at the loud thud? Maybe. I mean, I already know that that's not real. But if that's if that's what they're trying to get me to do, feels a bit unfair. I feel. Because I believe that bloodstain's fake. I have a feeling that that's eventually gonna be what shows up. There's nothing else up here either. Is that something new? Okay, I guess that's my best guess at what it is. It's not really contradiction, more of a this is clearly showing that it was the murder. I don't know. It also better not be a, oh, you need to press previous statements now. Yeah, I had a feeling. I'm gonna go ahead and do save scum. I already didn't believe in that, so I'm not like... I don't feel bad about doing that. They said I need conclusive evidence. Tell you, I can't see a blind thing in that hiding space. It's pitch black. Let's read it. Haven't seen the cabin at all most days. No, I can't see anything. Thought you were pickpocketing a butcher. I mean, I have a look. I couldn't see until because he was sat on my head. I couldn't see. The reason you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see. Truth is, I'm gonna into Appy. Ah! Can't do that to me! Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That didn't happen before. Ah!
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded?
Oh, I do apologize. Was there something on the matter, Council?
I was just wondering if Mr. Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps.
You seem to be thinking about something yourself. Oh, no, it was nothing important.
I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad shut up in the dark. It was terrifying, so it was. I see, yes. I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark even now.
Aye. I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem so much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe.
Mr. Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything, an unusual noise, perhaps?
Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring.
By Jabez!
There's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. Only Miss Lestrade heard something. Might have given us a new vital clue.
Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? Profoundly important, like always. My lord! I believe that statement was just made by the witnesses profoundly important.
Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing, but she heard a loud thump.
Yes, which is profoundly an important point. I'm almost sure of it.
Almost sure. I don't understand your inner workings of your Eastern mind, Council. Nevertheless,
don't be racist.
Miss Guinness Trade. You will supplement your formal testimony by repeating your last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you talking about? Don't give me that fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. You want to work on me?
Yeah, that's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. Yeah.
Standing with me is for work, going on what's not, but I couldn't hear nothing. All I could hear was snoring.
So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time since the moment you hid yourself?
Not exactly, no.
Sorry?
Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could have just pushed the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then I saw the swell getting on, and I got in my head down so he didn't notice me. Then
There's Mr. McGilded sound on the seat that you were hiding, yeah?
Yeah! Wouldn't the Adam and Eve it? Would you have an Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mag. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I had him leave, see? But would have? Not likely. Would have he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open.
Never had the door open. Directly conflicts with what was stated before, that he was the first person on.
So I just had to stay put and listen to the driver and his pigs to market, snoring like a dog he was.
Are there conclusions that we can draw from that, I wonder? Doesn't add up. The door didn't open once. Mr. Lestrade, what you just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
Good lords, are you sure, man?
Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Seeks realized it too. I got my own reputation to hold, dude.
Counsel, I must insist you bolster that claim of evidence, or some complicit party's name at very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate the alleged contradiction to the court.
When Miss Strad, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGill snoring, but I think Rena escaped. I'm pretty sure that this is correct route to go down. I don't think they'd have Zeke's go, you actually not that stupid to point this out. There's something that she should have heard. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On the particular sound that Mr. Lestrade should not have failed to hear on that night of question. Sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. Mason. She should have heard the door opening for him at least. Maybe footsteps of him coming in. Like, all of that should have... I'm not sure you can, like, say that, oh, he was just snoring and he was so loud a snorer. Everyone else... I think it is the Mason.
Yeah. Thrice-fired Mason?
Yes, my lord. The sound of Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear. Is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus?
Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was at the pub, didn't I?
Little drinky. Alright. And the next person to board the omnibus, that was Mr. McGilded.
That it was? Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight.
So you were, to all intended purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin on the omnibus at the time.
Did I not say as such?
Ugh, did I not say as such? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I saw him get on, I remember. Through the cracks under the seat cushion. It was on for sure.
And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops on its way onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the doors opening or closing at all?
Nah, I never heard him. I never heard it. Well, that's exactly what I was listening for, weren't I? Waiting for this swell to leave.
In which case, when and how did the victim end up on the carriage?
Ah!
We all know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Mr. Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts.
Ah!
Yes, that petty thief's statement is clearly flawed.
Lord Van Zeeks!
Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency with Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem that the words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You literally did my job for me. You've demonstrated matters implicitly. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more.
Rubble is dead right. How could the victim possibly not heard the boarded omnibus? That makes no sense whatever. And the girl's a pickpocket. Let's not forget that.
Oh, she's changing. Ah, she didn't even say anything.
I just wanted to judge. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite because she had some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
Neither can I.
But, Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge the girl because she had some less than scrupulous ways.
But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Ugh.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 gerrymanders leading towards guilty.
Time to drink again. Well, for your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing.
Owie. Yeah, what are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Araman?
Oh, that feels like a slur.
This is carnage. It's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one who's left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way it's going...
I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone that Mr. McGilded's innocence, the judge will rule and will have lost.
I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those in a service must accept hard truths.
Hold it. Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statements are in fact truth, then it may shed an entirely new light onto this whole case. What are you saying?
Counsel!
I'm sorry, sir. Whatever you do mean.
Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prolong my adjudication. Explain yourself at once.
Well, the accused aboard... When the accused boarded the omnibus to the last question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently... Gonna try and slur his words when he's drinking. The carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand.
And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage.
If this petty thief's words it's believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be in the carriage. He was there already, probably. That's my guess, is that Mr. McGilded lied about him not being there. But, she stated that nobody was there. So, in a turn, like, she would essentially just be saying, like, yeah, it was a lie. That was also a lie. But, like, I don't know. That actually is a difficult one, because it feels like it should be that he was there already, and Mr. McGilded was lying, but so would she be, that she was also stating that nobody was there at the start. And if that's the case... Or... Wouldn't it just been possible that they both got on at the same time? Isn't that a better option? Mr. McGilded and Mason both got on at the same time. They both sat down at the same time. Though she did say that she only saw him. He was put there after he died? Yeah, okay. I had a feeling. Okay. It does make more sense that he was put there after he died. Obviously, the victim must have been placed in the carriage after he was killed. Tell me, my learned friend, what was the function of that obviously in your last sentence?
Well said, Lord Van Zykes. You're obviously troubling me also.
No. It's really not the point. The point is that the victim must have been moved into the carriage afterward. Answer me this, then. How could the cadaver have been placed inside a moving carriage? Well, obviously. I shall have penalties for the... Ah! Save scum. Don't take away the things and make it seem like it's the correct answer. Screw you. But it's not going to be that there's another entrance, is there? He was already there. Clearly, he was already there from beforehand. Tell me, my learned friend, what is the function of that clearly in our last sentence? Oh my god, it's going to be it again. Point is that the victim must have been in the couch beforehand.
Answer me this. Beforehand, what specific point of time are you referring?
Well, clearly, yeah. So apparently it's this magic hidden entrance that we all don't know about. I don't like that because it's unless this hidden entrance is clear, being like, oh, he went through the window. Even then, like, the windows clearly don't open. I mean, I guess maybe he went through the skyline. I think they said that it opens up one way. Oh, for God's sake. The door wasn't opened even once. The only other explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin another way. I wonder what that new fantasy of yours would come up with in your mind, in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door, and the other has only windows. Fixed windows that cannot be opened. In short, there is no entrance in the cabin other than the door. But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, there's one way inside that isn't a door. Another opening which could have been used by the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
All right, counsel. The defense would identify the location to the court.
It has to be the skyline, right? The answer is obvious. It could only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight?
Objection.
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me at a loss for words, however. The skylight may be large enough for someone to pass through. So you claim, but do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGilded and Mr. Lestrade said the same thing in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, thus such a noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which has already been explained. The sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from his seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? The loud noise, a noise loud enough to cause Mr. Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact.
Good gracious.
I mean, let's talk here. I don't know about that whole, like, how did the person get into the cabin? Saying it's an entrance, I don't know. It really feels like they could have just been like, he held the door open for the other dude and she didn't see him.
And Mr. McGild... It's clearly been shown that Mr. McGilded's lying a lot here. So why should we trust his words? I guess.
Good gracious.
Perhaps, in fact, that this moment that the victim died... That it was the moment the victim had made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it. You're now suggesting that the victim fell into the skylight from the skylight into the cabin? That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made a mention of such events in their testimonies. Well, yes, that's true, but...
Might a humble fella make a wee comment here?
Mr. McGilded?
To be sure now, the two fellers that were sat on the roof testified afore. Said nothing about the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that is not so much the case of them not saying, but... Aye. The case of them being unable to say?
What?
I think perhaps those two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Hmm?
Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof.
You mean the ones stuck the knife in the man were?
Ah!
Oh god, Mr. McGilded is really pushing this. Oh no. And I feel like Mr. McGilded's going into a really, like, cheap win here. Now he's, like, trying to throw these two under the bus in order to win.
What exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherina?
You're right, he said, you're right. What are you insinuating?
Jesus Christ.
This is a flaming outrage. I have a good mind to put a blinker in you in a minute.
I'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I.
Mr. Fairplay!
You're effectively accusing me, the city's gentleman, and the well-respected banker.
And me, a very, very angry hatter.
Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed someone in a man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I protest. It's in the strongest possible terms.
That's right. I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel.
Oof.
Order! This is not the time, witnesses. I would not permit unwanted invasion of the stand. Return to the ante-room at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
Jesus Christ. My lord, if I may comment.
Go ahead, Lord Van Seeks.
It was a defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend seems fit to abandon all protocol and accuse witnesses without proof. I've made no accusations. I never intended to. It seems the young Nipponese that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to the court that the victim fell through the skylined roof deck in the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars, and you have imitated their criminal guilt. In a British court of law, that's her... That's what is a term, a baseless accusation. I know it was rash to put this idea forward without any evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought.
What are we wasting time for? Get him to testify.
I thought there was something fishy about that hat for the moment I laid eyes on that fellow. We have to see this matter through now. Only one way or another.
If there's fifth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once.
Nice.
But what's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The specters in the public gallery they're in complete frenzy.
Mr. Fairplay and Mr. Frost. First.
My lord?
You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony. In reference to the incident brought by the defense. By the indictment brought by the defense.
Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. So there's 4 people on the stand. I have a feeling that it's going to be another witness reacts moment.
You were the only 2 people on the roof deck. Dead or alive, I can swear to that. We were the only ones.
If anything happened, we were where we were sitting. Don't you think one of the other of us would have noticed?
In any case, neither of us know that the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill this man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. Who could possibly have opened it?
So if you're sure that the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that, on listening to this testimony, it seems somewhat hard to imagine how evil witnesses could have performed a malevolent act on their own, on this open roof deck, without noticing forthwith. That's right, you see.
We're innocent, I tell you.
Although logically, of course, this argument falls down if the 2 of you are in collusion with one another.
What?
According to the investigation by Scotland Yard, the 2 witnesses share no common dealings.
Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich.
Something doesn't feel right here. This trial's going in our favor, really, so why do I feel uneasy?
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please.
Is it really going in our favor?
I feel like it's not going in our favor because 5 people are already screaming guilty up there. Okay, refuting the accusations.
We were the only 2 people on the roof deck. Dead or alive, I could swear that.
So no one at the time... So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up and join you on the roof deck?
Absolutely not. Dickens. Dickrin.
No question about it, he said. Not at all. Oh, but yes, of course, I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the closed cabin talking to this man here.
Nice. I like the new like points and like tends to look at the character and everything. Like, I love that new mechanic of this. It's not even a mechanic, it's just like a flavor to the designs and presentation. I love it.
Is this true, Mr. McGilded?
Deary me, Lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone
And nodded off inside almost immediately.
That's an outright lie. Without doubt, you were engaged in...
Let me stop you right there, fella. Do you have evidence at all? At all? You have any evidence at all? At all? It's all about evidence in the courts these days. So it is... Ugh, 'tis all about evidence in court these days, so it is. You'd best do remember that.
I saw you with my own eyes.
This is going so well.
If anything had happened when we were sitting there, don't you think one or the other would have noticed?
Well, it was one of the final run of the omnibus past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly.
This is some kind of lark.
Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what it is?
Or perhaps one of the other of you fell asleep briefly?
Are you a fair dinkum, sir?
Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you.
I gave you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bit of cold. And if you managed that, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open again.
That's extreme.
It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked.
I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was aware of the fairies. I didn't hear you at all.
That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone.
Now, 'twas a cold night, so it was. The people seeing things in that aren't real in the cold, 'tis hardly surprising.
Saying things? Saying things?
I can't believe we've reached an impasse here on this particular point.
You.
Don't take it personally now, lad. If I was suspecting this case, if I'm the suspect in this case, 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about.
This isn't competition I would like to be involved in, really.
So, you've never met Mr. Thrice Mason before?
Oh, Lumid. No! Not once, never!
She is looking away.
I've never met the man before, he said never.
And you, Mr. First? You have no private dealings with the victim either?
That's right, sir. Hatters do not have much to do with brickworkers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
I'm not so sure about that. Look at this hat. It almost has a striking resemblance, wouldn't you say? I don't know, it's not perfect evidence, but I would say if anyone's made his hat, I would say it was this guy.
No, I imagine not. You see, no matter how many different ways I can put this, neither of us have the remote connection to the gentleman who was inside the cabin.
Uh-oh. Bruce Fairplay and the Mason were both taking money from Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
Yes, counsel? What can I be doing for you?
Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow?
Not from the remotest connection. Is that right now? I wonder.
What are you insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay, 'tis a long tis been too long, so it has.
Eh?
Yep. I always looking at both of them like, huh?
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date?
I beg your pardon?
You promised you'd borrow 20 Guinness from me, sir.
At the unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well, now, is that a touch of begrudgingly?
Begrudgingly. I don't know how to say that word, isn't it?
The sort of begrudging that might motivate a fella to pass
his crimes off to another. Begrudgery? I think that's it. Begrudgery. And young Mr. Frost.
Me, sir? What do you want from me, sir?
You do making hats for a living, do you not?
That there top hat sliding off your head. Is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I just... The apprentice, you understand. I was learning how to make the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door.
Perfect fit, is it? Well, it's very distinctive design, is it? So it says.
Any customers like it, I tell you. They're a distinctive touch.
Customers? Such as thrice-thighed Mason? There is a photographic print of the victim submitted to the evidence there for him, my lord. Hmm? Oh, this you mean? I can't help but think that the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? I already caught on to that.
Oh. That's, one of my hats.
Aye, so it is.
So, it would seem that the brickmaker was a customer of yours.
The sort of customer I'd wager you would have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods.
No, sir. Absolutely not, sir.
Well, there ain't nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't had the faintest connection, though the remotest connection to the victim, you see.
I rest my case.
You little weasel. It's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded certainly has been thorough in his investigation and his research, hasn't he? Please don't let this little interruption hold your proceedings. I got a little achievement for that.
Skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it.
Are you quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time.
Are you going to lose? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute.
He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's fast. It's shut fast now, just like it was on the other night.
So it is, of course. A fellow with the size of Mr. Mason could have easily break through, though. Very tall, still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing. You understand?
Now hold on a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing.
Not on its own, it's considered bigger in the picture here, shall we? Stop biting on a cane, shall we?
I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when I broke wind loudly. I shook myself.
Come on, man.
I shook myself with it, as it happens.
Is unexpected confession, Mr. First.
Oh, I meant to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was staring daggers at me, and I went as red as a rogue, I did.
Are you expecting me to sentence you?
No. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and the cabin was a shame.
Hello.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade.
It opens. Huh? The skylight. That's what we're talking about, right? All of them skylights open. Dead easy.
More easily than you can load that weapon.
It's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, I...
Can't do it from the inside, you mug.
Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was sat on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great ole. I mean, I had purses coming out of me and ears.
Mr. Latrade, this is not a forum for illogisting on the subject of your criminal activities.
But anyways, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, and so I couldn't drop off the bus and leg it. So what I did, I used the skylight. I opened the hatch and jumped right through.
What?
Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin.
The skylight opens from the roof deck?
Bailiff! Climb up on the roof of that omnibus at once. Verify the witness's claims.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my hat! See?
Order! 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 So, it would appear the street urchin girl's statement is in fact true.
I don't believe it. The skylight opens. From the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo. This could be a clue that we'd be looking for.
Well, the counsel for defense, please continue with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate that for myself. I guess I gotta update it by seeing like, oh, it opens from the top and you can see the blood splatter on the bottom. So the skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone. What should we be able? We should be able to open it? You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp inside the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. It's not good for us. I guess that is the proof that they want me to present. The blood on the floor. Even though I know it's fake. I said this before and I was wrong, but it's fake blood, but it does technically, in this hypothetical of everyone believing that it's real blood, should be like, oh, the blood is clearly showing that he did in fact fall right there after being killed. But let's press festival. Proof.
That's right, I demand to hear it.
We came here to say what we saw, I tell you, not for this.
But you called us both slicers. Brand us as criminals.
You call us liars is what he means, and you accuse us of doing it. As it stands at the moment. There's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there?
The thing is, I actually recognize this about this guy. He moves his head like all the way to the side like this is a profile, like a side shot, I think. Is that a I don't know if it's a profile. It's been a while since I did photography in uni. Whatever. It clearly resembles like the face on a note, right? I just like that little like touch.
There's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there?
I believe that we're in the same position as one another here. Don't crack his 6 coon, he'll crack his teeth. I got it. I got it. Two men really involved in some way? I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about him, do I? Although, by the same token, I don't really know much about Mr. McGilded either. So it's hard to know what I should believe here. I think we should try and remember what the evidence alone can truly determine the outcome of this trial. Evidence. No one can argue against decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. So you're saying that what we need now is to find conclusive piece of evidence. Okay. What? Oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's a blood stain right flipping there. Am I supposed to... Did I miss something? Was the bus supposed to update or something? Ah! I can't get it to position itself, like, above. Maybe another one? Okay, it's this one. Okay. I guess that's better. It's just that blood stain, I understand that it's fake. But I'm having such a difficult time telling when the game wants me to actually believe that it's real or not. Because I know that it's fake, but I don't know if the game knows that I know that it's fake. So I don't know if the game wants me to present it as evidence for certain things. You understand? Ah! Ow! What am I supposed to do here? That's blatantly... I've blatantly shown that you can! Am I supposed to press it again? Despite... Oh, actually, it can be opened. What more? The catch seems to be... Okay, so it has... Ah! I hate these. I hate this. I hate it when the presses change and you need to repress the same statement and then it's like, oh, now we can proceed. That's why it's how the catch is secured on the roof side deck. This is getting flipping ridiculous. Oculus.
It's getting absurd, he says. Completely absurd.
That's right. Neither of us know that the skylight had a catch. We didn't know. We couldn't have opened it. We couldn't have opened it. If it didn't open, we couldn't have kicked the fellow down.
Please, where's the idea about kicking the victim down skylight come from?
Whoever designed these carriages anyway, fancy or not of being able to open the skylight from the inside. What about breaking window? What do you think about that?
I don't want to fucking hear about this anymore. We're really getting off topic here. You actually have a point, Prey. Do enlighten the rest of us.
I'll tell you what my point is.
I've shown you proof. I've shown you proof and you didn't accept it.
Excuse me.
I didn't mean to do that, but okay. Maybe I need to go through the press statements that... Maybe look to me to the side one way or another. Do you have some affliction?
Not really.
It's not really willing to say anything, it seems.
None of your business anyhow.
Okay. It's a little interesting. I don't like it. I don't like that there's clearly a state that you can just show. You can show it clear as day. But they're saying, nope, nope, that's not good enough. Nope, 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 nope. You need to press something else. What is this supposed to be then? If it isn't just like annoying press statements again, like just press everything over yet again. I genuinely... It is the worst thing in these games when it's like you have to press specifically things that you've already pressed before in order to get down to the actual like thing that you need to press into. Ugh, this is new. So you never met Mr. Price before? Never. You missed first dealings. Oh, this isn't new. Is that it? They had no motive? Let me just read that again. Never met him before. Oh, Lumina, not once, never. Never met the man before. Are you Mr. Frost? No, never seen him before. Sorry, hatters don't have anything to do, but no, I suppose not. You see how many different ways can we put this? Never is the motive's connection to the inside gentleman. That's right. This is about motive, and we have none. No motive, then. Is that it? I have to maybe present the ledger to show that at least Bruce Fairplay did. I already don't like this already. I'm going to present the ledger here. We've already gone over this with Mr. McGilded. But maybe it's that.
Objection.
Nope. Did he do the hand up when I presented the omnibus at the end one? Did it try and fake out trick me? By not removing them and stopping the music? Okay. What invocations, Council? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly. Nothing striking about it. What does this strike me? So it is different. But for some fucking reason, they make that one different. It almost makes me think that maybe there's something wrong with the evidence itself. Where's my proof that he fell through the skyline? I specifically see blood on the floor. Right above the dam. Right above it. Right above it. Look, it's right above. It's so right above it, isn't it? Oh my god, it's almost as if, like, it's right above it. What else is it asking of me here? Oh my god, are you serious? I see it. Why is it doing this? Ah, I gotta go back inside. Ah, this is so... Ah. Give me the full 3D movement and I'll be able to get it easily. God damn it. Whoa. Blood. I found it. Why wouldn't it just let me, like, point to it? Why is this even necessary? There's blood on the floor. Just say, oh, he fell, and there's clearly a large, like, puddle of blood right below the skyline. I don't know. That would have been good enough, I feel. And then he could have pointed this small piece out alongside it. It just feels mean, this. It just feels so goddamn mean. Like, I tried pressing on it before as well, but because I wasn't angled correctly. Ah, you're not gonna kick me down. What is it? Look, look at this. Ah, it's red paint. Why would it be here in Bloodstain? Ah, surely it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? Wah.
Objection.
God fucking damn it. On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately after, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts. The irrefutable proof is the red paint on the rim of one of the frames of the skyline. Not anything to do with the blood, the fake blood that's on the bottom of the bus, clearly above the skyline. No! Oh, God. I don't know, man. Why not just make me say the omnibus is it, and then let me point it out while on the bus? So I could be like, okay, sure, there's nothing else to look for in the testimony. This is correct. The omnibus is correct. I need to find whatever it is. I will criticize any part of this game, including that. Yeah. Remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stand before us in this very courtroom. What? That's an utter humbug. Ah, you can't possibly have any evidence.
You can't. I mean, we didn't do anything, I tell you. It's impossible.
Irrefutable proof. Here in this courtroom.
Counsel,
Yes, my lord.
I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here,
Oh, am I gonna have to point it out exactly again? Again, am I? Oh, so we are doing this. Why? Why make me point it out beforehand and then do it again? Why? Why is this so unbelievably unnecessary? If I'm wrong with the bloodstain on the floor, I can be wrong. But for the love of God, it's not a terrible thing to think. Pointing out that it is the omnibus should have gotten me here. And then I should have had to point out the red splooge on the freaking rim, right? I should have had to do that. And I should have failed when I pointed at the blood at the floor. Because he'd just be like, oh yeah, Mason fell onto the floor. There's nothing wrong with that. It just... it feels so unnecessarily unfair. It feels unfair. That's all I feel like. Anyway...
Got it.
Got it.
Drop your balls, dude. I really need this cup of tea for this godforsaken trial. Why, Juniper, is that blood? Ah!
The bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open.
Ah! What?
And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening.
Oh my.
So it is as follows that Mr. McGilded was the one who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time. Cannot possibly be guilty of this crime.
No.
Order! 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 Hold it! But the blood could have sprayed up from when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin.
And it only found its way into one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, and that would have been very convenient. Let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't be able to open it now, would I? But there's no way for certain, is there? If that gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have your good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. Frost? 'Tis all too plain, if you see. Ugh. There in the aftermath is what shows the poor fella from a fair fight right there, so it is.
What? No!
But there can't be! It's all
Lies! My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is a clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can we?
I believe we can, yes. It's clear to me that where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom.
So they thought they could put the wool over my eyes, did they?
I won't tolerate the Gill's carriages being sullied with blood. I can't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew the nice gentleman who gave us the delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. Gilded. Oh? What would you be referring to there now, Mr. Van Zeeks? Miss little old Zeeky. A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For an extremely easy reason. That smear of blood never existed. What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it clearly is blood. I personally attend Scotland Yard's investigations of the omnibus. The officers involved went to the carriage with a fine tooth and comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least not until this trial began.
But what are you suggesting, Lord Van Sykes? That the stain of the blood was
Fabricated, my lord? Yes, it's been all. And while this court has been session. What? What? What a palaver. I did say that I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital as fine contributors to the public life. I don't see kindly to slander, and I'd fight it to the bitter end. If ye be rolling off that tongue of the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Mr. McGilded, I realize that your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I'm well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in many great affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens, there's a case that's a case you're involved in is investigated. You adapt the facts.
Adapt the facts? What do you mean?
I'm going to get drunk again. When you wield the fountains of sighs that of Mr. Gilded, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with the evidence, manipulating the scene of the crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concord the convenience of stories, sir.
Tut! Lord Van Zykes, this'll not do, to be sure.
Will it now, counsel? Huh? Oh, no.
I think it's fair to say that this does sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood of the Skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you be casting your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without a word of and his wife seeing? Is that's right? Isn't that right now, counsel? Isn't that right now, counsel?
It's true, the omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court has been in session. My learned friend, here's to hearing your opinion on the matter, in your own words. As you wish. Someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial. You're asking me, I think... Obviously they could have, because literally the biggest thing that happened that last session was that a smoke bomb went off. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though we're missing something. There's something even more important at stake here. There's no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out alleged tempering, there's one possibility.
Oh! Good gracious! Explain yourself, counsel!
Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nippon friend has no intention of running from this deceit.
Deceit?
I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly. The recess that we were forced to take as a result of a smoke grenade fired by the witness currently on the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Bang. Bang!
What's going on?
Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I will call him Jesus. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone who was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave the chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and all of that chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus.
Ah, you wise! What are you trying to pull, you rotten, fractless gouger?
Oh god, that sounds like a slur. I don't know. What?
You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot yon has minded me. So it is.
Whatever you think this is, a change is nothing. The facts are the same. This courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade. A number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus.
Inconsistencies such as?
To start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger's seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, the compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I've said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning.
Unfortunately not, Mr. Van Sykes. No one is able to corroborate your claims.
It's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut.
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with certainty if the evidence was the result of tampering or not.
Indeed, my lord. No doubt there's not a single person who saw fit to verify such things.
What do you think?
Sorry? Blood test? Seriously, just blood test. Is there anything unusual about the omnibus?
I have an inkling.
My lord,
Yes, counsel?
there's one further inconsistency. A mark you surely could not have present at the start of the trial. Is it the one at the bottom? Is the one that literally Van Zieks has been stating very clearly that Van Zieks doesn't even know about? I swear to God, if this bloodstain is just continuously going to end up not being the freaking main evidence here.
What?
What the devil's name are you gonna say now?
If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you be best watching your back.
You shouldn't really be making threats to your own defense, bro.
Silence, Mr. McGilded. This court awaits the defense's clarification.
This trial keeps swinging one way or another. I have no idea what the truth is and what's deception. What I'm supposed to believe here.
Shall I ask you to elaborate, counsel? Where exactly is the alleged mark you claim to have appeared at some point during the trial?
Looking around, I don't see any other marks. I would suggest it's this. If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, it would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But, as far as I recall, that bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel.
Well said. Although, as advocate for your defense, one might say that it was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that the bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine or whether it is unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that it's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake.
Ah! This trial is over.
Mr. McGilded?
I've done everything I could possibly can to cooperate with this court, but it's all over now.
But you're the defendant.
'Tis over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is the bloodstain is here. Is there, now.
Well,
And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it's been, that good-for-nothing Reaper the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandaled, so I am. I thought better of Lord Sykes than Sykes. Well, my lord?
I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollection of the individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and the absence of any credible method of which to prove the alleged previous non-existence. I regret to say it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship, you can't be serious. Lord Van Sykes, what is your position?
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present.
Very well. In that case, I believe we have explored every possible avenue for this matter. I shall proceed with my jurisdiction. As formally, I am, of course, obliged to confirm the defense first.
What formality? Things as stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGillen would be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really right outcome here? Is that really alright for the trial to come to an end now? With all these unexplained inconsistencies.
Counsel of Defense, your closing statement, please.
Yes, my lord. The defense believes... This is definitely not something you should say as a defense lawyer, even if you may believe it to some degree. It's definitely not something you want to bring up in trial because it is instant mistrial. Your defense lawyer cannot advocate that you are guilty of of the crime that they're defending you on. They can't. It is like if a trial lawyer states that they cannot like zealously defend their client, they have to do so beforehand and specifically state it. They can do that, but it has to be beforehand. It has to be clearly stated that they do not believe that they can give a solemn and ultimate defense of this client because they don't believe themselves that they see them as guilty, right? Or something of that matter. Like, it has to be zealously believed. If they can't do that, they have to say so before anything. They can't just say in the middle of trial, oh yeah, my defendant might be guilty. I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilden. However, at this moment in this time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence.
What are you saying, madam?
Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent.
Good gracious me! Order! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused's innocence into question? Are you sound mind? Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision.
What?
I must say, I didn't expect such an exciting spectacle to end here. Still, here, have this for your troubles.
Ah!
Your job's done here, fella, and some fine work you've done, so you have.
What do you mean?
Just as the right honourable gentleman has so succinctly put before, this trial can't go on any longer. So your closing statement there was, how you put it now, nothing more than a formality. What?
Pretty sure the jurors have the ability to say, no, actually. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or is it fake?
His lordship would be fuming,
Any unsightly rubbish must be disposed of promptly, as I said.
The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You mark my words.
I feel terribly ashamed to have ever doubted the lovely man who gave us a lovely park.
Now that the proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. However, the court must accept the defendant's plea.
I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby announce the verdict to this court.
But there still hasn't determined the bloodstain is on the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pact of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Van Zykes,
My lord,
this case has been made by the prosecution is flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus was presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place.
my sincerest apologies, my lord.
But wait.
When we evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zykes ordered that the evidence be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair.
The culpability of the defendant has not at present time been established by the court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to pre-offer judgment.
What?
Well, Lord Van Zykes, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If ye be pursuing this matter further, you cannot always go ahead and try to change the law.
Magnus McGilded,
Good grief. You have more to say to me, have you?
just one thing. A warning. This is far from over.
Well, something to be looking forward to then.
I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty.
No cheering here. Oh, well, I guess there is. Huh.
I can't believe it. That's an outrage. He should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man is cleared. He's innocent.
Ah, so it's going to be up in, like, questions of whether or not he was actually innocent or not. With the courtroom in a pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first trial ever in Great Britain came to an abrupt end. With the defendant being found not guilty, abstemiously a victory for us. Look at the little weasel on my bottom bit here, like down here. Look at the little crap down there. 18th of February, 14 past 5, the Old Bailey defendants, antechamber.
It certainly was a long trial.
Ah, yes, it was.
The first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a most wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations.
Thanks to you, Miss Susato. Thanks for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're completely in the dark about what actually happened.
Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't that wrong?
I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection.
Aye, you did.
Mr. McGilded. Ah, and that girl is with him too. Ah, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they'd be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, you must say. Yes, definitely. I heard that it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. What? Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What the heavens are you saying, fella? Dear, how did I walk out of there a free man then? I don't think it was as much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're straight talking, fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Tis old water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that atrocious and abhorrent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now that the fine fellows of Scotland Yard have taken matters into their hands, we can sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them. So I have, after all. I do be providing a good number of their wages, with all the taxes I pay. What? It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 Guinness for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. You're be Christ. You're a humble people, aren't you? You're from the East. Well, if you insist. But have this. Still and all, you deserve a reward.
Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? What's this, officer? Tis sooner than I'd led to believe.
I hope it was not a convenience, sir, but some changes to the schedule.
No. Well, I must be making checks now. 'Tis time for an inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I was asked if I could be present for it myself. Are they going to examine it again? Now? Naturally. I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help whenever I can. It is a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. It was an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope we'll have a whale of a time. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain.
And there he goes, a free man.
Oh, I forgot she was here too.
Oh no. Maybe you should dodge this?
Don't move.
Whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing.
Mr. Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up.
Sorry?
And I hate all grown-ups. Ah! There you are.
Oh my god.
There you are. Naughty, naughty. Running off like that.
Holy crap. I think we found Sherlock's assistant. I mean, that's what the goggles remind me of. Jesus Christ. Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? Ah, Christ, I have to do a little girl voice. I already kind of did, but now I have to do it for a while because this is clearly a main character, or a part of the main cast. She's on the goddamn box cover.
And taking all that with you as well. I was looking forward for the trial run in my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Gah. Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me.
Excuse me, but who are you?
Oh, good day to you. I'm an inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The inventor.
Well, normal smoke grenades are dull. So dull, don't you agree? White is white, and more white. If you have it to be shrouded in smoke, at least have it be a pretty color, I thought to myself.
Do you have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all?
I just took a look off my eyes. I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing into a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon.
What's it? What? I have no idea what this girl's talking about.
Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What for? To apologize? Of course, silly. To my technician.
What? You mean to say sorry? Yeah.
If you must say sorry, then you've done something wrong. Surely adults have told you this before. An adult? I don't listen to no adult. Come along then, follow me. Fine, have it your way. Good. You'll see. I knew you'd do the right thing in the end.
I'm fairly sure that she wants to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. Bid you adieu, lady.
We'll be leaving now. Bye-bye. I'm sorry for all the fuss.
She was a lively one.
Well, do you think perhaps we'd ought to be getting on our way now, too?
Yes, you're right, but where to?
Oh,
We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner we arrived in London, we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff.
I was originally planning to spend today searching for our lodging.
But at this late hour, I'm afraid we'll be out of luck.
Don't worry though, I have a plan. When worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night.
Please tell me you're not thinking of Miss McGilded Park.
I know it might be a little chilly this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through.
I'm not so sure about that. I think the midwinter London night might freeze the young person solid just as easily as an elderly one.
Oh dear, that just doesn't sound agreeable.
I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 Guinness would have paid for a lovely warm room or a mansion. Yeah, it would have. But you'd also probably be in a debt with him. He'd probably make you remember that payment for a long time. But you as a lawyer could just be like, you paid me for my services, obviously. And so, the trial was to determine my worthiness. The study tour was over by the end of the first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. It's just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned. The case was far from over. Yeesh. Best guess? Magnus McGild is gonna die.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade!
Whoa.
How did this happen?
Look at this detective!
It was already engulfed. investigating.
Oh.
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
Judge!
This can't be.
Holy crap. Okay, maybe I was actually on the money there. Maybe Mr. McGilded did die. Oh my god. That would be insane. I made a total guess there because I was like, oh, Mr. McGilded's just like, he's been declared innocent, so he's not going to become another defendant. So it's possible he's going to die in another chapter and we're going to have to like deal with that. Holy crap, though. That was actually pretty crazy. Alright, that is it for today, but I'm going to have a quick look-see at the starting chapter of this. Hopefully this is investigation and trial, because we've yet to get both in the same
I
room.
begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Ow. So that's it today. Yeah, that's it. I want to make sure that I cut these streams into separate cases. I don't want to go into another case, right? And I have to say, like, the title of the VOD is Part 2 of Case 3 and Part 1 of Case 4, right? I don't want to do that. So that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone who did and just didn't chat. It's fair. Fair is all. All is fair. Yep. Back to title. Go to save. Yes, please. And that is it for today. It was actually surprising though that the jury didn't even like have a final vote or anything. I genuinely thought they were going to go for like an all guilty verdict at the end there because of his breakdown. And it was very unconclusive. Yeah. That case got very muddy at the end there, didn't it? The blood stain on the goddamn omnibus. That caused me so many annoyances. Like, it was clear that that's what was being referred to. But it's almost as if the game expected you not to see it. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of the times I have issues with these games, it's because it feels like the game doesn't expect me to notice something. So it's like, no, don't talk about that. Don't mention that. That's not part of anything. Please stop taking note of the giant bloodstain on the floor. It's got nothing to do with what we actually like figure out. I had contradictions to other things, but because this press statements was like already containing the contradiction, it suddenly doesn't make it a contradiction. It's just that kind of testimony really bugs me, especially the having to repress statements that you've already seen before. And technically back then it wasn't a situation where you had to repress statements, but it is what it is. I got through it. I'm curious to see who died inside the carriage, because that is actually pretty brutal a death if they actually did in fact die. I mean, they broke the window, so they could have possibly like gotten out, but chances are they might have died of smoke inhalation. Hopefully they did before they got like burned to death, because burning to death is so much more worse. Either way, thanks for watching again. Sorry for the longer end, but I wanted to like talk about the case. Actually, let's give it a number. I gave the first one a number. The first number was like 6 or 7 because of the meat problem. Second case, I never gave a number. I'd probably give it. Going over it again, I didn't have any real problems with it. I thought everything that went down, it did feel a little unrealistic for the girl to not notice the second piece of the bell that was on the cat collar. That didn't really make much sense, and she'd know that there was a second piece somewhere, and she just didn't look for it. She was like, oh, that's the piece, that's the only one there. I think they should have made it clear that, she thought that the other bell piece was still attached to the cat. But then when she noticed that it wasn't, she tried to go back in to take it, but the door was bolted, so she couldn't. That could have been said. Like, that's the only hiccup I have with that one, so I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Because I really do like the setup of all of that. This one, 8 out of 10. I liked it. That bloodstain stuff really irked me, but I got through it in the end. I do like the introduction to the characters and the jury system. It felt like everyone was interesting and fun to listen to, talk to, and voice act, right? It got a bit of annoying with the freaking passing gas joke. It just, nobody wants to hear that kind of crap. But yeah, for the final time, thanks for watching. No, wait, not final time. God, why do I keep saying that? I haven't given it a number yet. Did I? No, I gave it a number. I gave it... Oh, my mind is a fucking mess right now. For the final time, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Ta-ta. See me next time playing this game on... Tomorrow's going to be Persona 5 again. And on Tuesday, it should be Great Ace Attorney again. Which is... 4 days from now? 3? I don't know. You'll figure it out. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.